today we're going to look at the summer holidays because let's face it, we've just been, some of our young people are now finishing their exams. And in comparison, it's quite orderly, you know, where your young person is, they're revising, they're probably in their room, studying, revising, doing coursework, doing it at all times of the night. And now we have the holidays, and your first thought would be, yay, this is great, you know. But let's face it, holidays can be hard, even when they look like fun. I mean, let's be honest now, who's just dreading 6 weeks of chaos? So, first of all, let's just look at what emotional intelligence is. So, emotional intelligence is just an increase of self awareness, self regulation, and, you know, to understand your mood, your mental health, to have those social skills, to have that empathy, to have that motivation and resilience. And actually, like emotional intelligence, being able to identify your mood, to be able to manage your mood, to be able to self regulate, and to understand what's going on outside of you. Like this actually is the beginning of emotional is of mental health, and this protects and increases our mental health. So I have seen a recent article on the impact of us not letting our teens or our young people go out. And I'm going to come back to that later. But first of all, I'd just like to share three examples of situations that have happened to young people that we've supported. So imagine like your teen is on their mobile phone or they're on their computer at 2 o'clock in the morning. And what do? Like part of you, I should imagine, wants to just rush in there and say, right, don't you know it's 2 o'clock in the morning? Just stop that now. Come on, you need to get some sleep. And of course, then, you know, how's that going to end? How's that going to pan out? And, you know, and what we can do at that time, maybe not say anything then, you know, if you do say something then, like, you know, what is it that you're doing? Are you looking for something? Tell me more about that. Really inviting the young person to talk about what it is that's going on in their life and why they could be looking at their phone at 2 o'clock in the morning, searching the internet. Are they searching for an answer for something? Do they have a question? Is it something they're uncertain about? So, really asking those open ended questions, because then you're getting into their world and finding out what it is that they're doing and why they're doing it. And then you can reason with them, you know. You know that it's not really that healthy to be staying up at 2 o'clock in the morning because you're going to need at least 8 hours sleep. So let's see what we can do, like, and you know, and then impose some limits, a limitation, something that's agreed, that, you know, that no phones after 9 o'clock or 10 o'clock at the latest. Have them agree to that, and then even suggest that you do something together. So it's really good because, like, we are used to having nighttime routines with younger kids, reading stories and things like this. But in actual fact, spending a bit of time with that yet that person in your life at that time of day can be really productive and effective because they're talking to you about what it is that they're dealing with, and you could even read them a story, or you could talk about something and spend some time together, and that would really help. So in our situation, we had a young person doing that, and we advised the parent to approach them in that way. And now things are going really well, and that young person is going to bed earlier at 9. You know, they switch off their phones at 9 o'clock. They prepare for bed, and everything is calm. So imagine a second scenario, like, you know, your 10-year-old is crying because, like, they haven't been invited to a sleepover. And what do? Of course, like in those situations, you want to take away the pain the young person is dealing with. So you start, so inadvertently we say, well, you know, it doesn't matter anyway. There'll be lots more opportunities. You know, why are you so upset? Because that isn't going to have them really work through the emotion and the mood that they're in. So it's best that we start looking at exactly the impact of that, because it isn't that they didn't have the invitation, is what they've made it mean. So when that 10-year-old is crying, really asking those open questions, like, so what, so how do you feel about that? And of course, maybe they'll start feeling that they're being rejected. And, what do you make that mean? And really listen to them, because it's what they've made it mean that is the most important thing, not the fact that the invitation, that they weren't invited. And then, and then a bit of reframing would really be good. So instead of them thinking, well, they haven't been invited, so it's the end of it, feels like it's the end of the world because no one's inviting them anywhere. Really putting things into perspective, because in real life, this is what happens. And you can even give an example from your own life where something you had an expectation and it wasn't fulfilled, it wasn't carried out, and the impact on you, just so they can get a perspective that not all the time do things happen the way they would like. And when things don't happen the way that they would like, that there are alternatives, and it may feel like it's the end of the world, and it's not. And then as well, you can help with the reframing and suggest that they do something that they really like, that you can do that together. So that's the second scenario. And the third scenario is that, there's the young person in your life is just, it occurs like, they're acting out, and you're snapping at them. Like, why are you doing this? Like, stop asking me this. You've asked me a million times, and you start snapping at them, and you start um just kind of like losing it a little bit, because you are burnt out and you're tired, and you've got work, and you've got your care, and you're cleaning the house, and you've got all of those duties and activities. And and it can be really, really hard. And in this moment, a good thing to do is to explain why you're so tired, like, really apologizing. I really sorry that didn't doesn't work for me to speak to you like that. You've done nothing wrong. It's me. I'm really, really tired right now. And because I don't have any energy, I'm taking it out on you. And you just really explaining where you are, like in your mood. And we're going to have a look at a tool that we use here at Julian Campbell Foundation, that you can really use together with yourself and the young people in your life. And we encourage that, and we use this at the foundation, and parents and young people, they really like it. So I'm now going to bring on, let me share with you the JCF mood map. You can see that. And these are some practical tools to help you, to empower you this summer, when you're dealing with, when you've got a young person in your life, and you want to demonstrate and showcase and model the emotional intelligence, because they're learning from us as their mentors, as their models. And so what we have here, this is a Julian Campbell Foundation mood map. And the mood map shows you two things: like how much or how little energy you have, and how you're feeling in that moment. So let's look at the energy. So high energy moods are in the red and the yellow at the top, and the low energy moods are at the bottom. They're in the blue and the green. And as well as how much or how little energy you've got, how are you feeling? Are you feeling really, really rubbish and negative? So in the mood map, that's on the red and the blue side. Or you're feeling really bright, you're feeling bouncy, you're feeling positive. This is where it could be that on the yellow or the green. And it's those two things together, how much or how little energy you've got, and how you're feeling, that in that moment give you the mood. And some of our young people, they wouldn't be able to, for example, identify their mood straight away. But what they would be able to do is say, well, I'm feeling yellow today, because that's kind of like high energy, good mood, feeling positive. Or more often than not, I'm in the red today. So in the red, overwhelmed, angry, nervous, stressed, frustrated, so we can start identifying now that. So mood mapping as a family is a great thing to do, because there's a way that you can showcase yourself, you can showcase your own mood and identify where you are. And it doesn't mean that, for example, if it's on the red side and the blue side, that it's wrong. And if it's on the yellow and the green side, it's right. It doesn't mean anything at all, because where you are, it doesn't matter where you are, it's what you do with where you are, if that makes any sense. So, for example, you could do the mood mapping with the young person in your life, and you can say, well, look, I'm a little stressed today, you know, and that could be, um, you know, there could be something underlying that. What is it that's having you stressed? There are lots of deadlines, lots of activities, and through this way as well, you are sharing with the young person in your life, being open. They can be the same as well. And and really, this is a great way of increasing and improving the levels of emotional intelligence by doing this mood mapping as a family. And and in actual fact, it's good to do this 4 times a day. So we'd say in the morning, in the early afternoon, late afternoon, and evening. And whatever times you're doing it, do it at the same times, because then you'll really start seeing patterns. You might start seeing, for example, that there's some people that you go and see, and they might put you on the red side of the map after afterwards. And there might be some people that you hang out with, and then afterwards you come away on the yellow side of the map. And it's just really great. It's a diagnostic tool, it's simple, and it works. And some of you might also as well have daily emotional check-ins. So as well as using the mood map, some of you might want to go one step further and have it as a journal. So really journaling and writing, not only your mood, but a little bit more information. And that's something that um, the young person in your life can do as well. Um, it works to have social media boundaries. So the first example that we were talking about, like the young person on the internet till 2 o'clock in the morning, that's not going to be working for them and their health and their development. I mean, brains, young people's brains are malleable, they're still forming. So things like sleep and eating and healthy routines are crucial. So really, there need to be boundaries. And I would say 9, 10 o'clock, no more social media after that for our teens. A maximum of 2 hours or 3 hours a day, no more than that. And also as well, like, show them how to resolve conflict. So in the first example, when we were talking about the young person on the internet until 2 o'clock in the morning, and like what we probably want to do is rush in there and say, look, can't you see it's 2 o'clock in the morning, and then rip it away from the phone away from them and say, that's it, like, you're not having it now. And of course, that we don't we know how that's going to go, and it's not going to end well. But like, what we want to do is have some kind of like conflict reset strategy. So going in there and asking open questions and really finding out what is going on in that young person's life, in your young person's life, asking them questions and reframing things as well. Because like through reframing, at one point, like, it can look to a young person, um, for example, like they've received their exam results and they haven't done as well as they would have liked, and it might seem the end of the world to them. And in this time, it's really good to reframe what it is, because they've had an expectation, and maybe like their exam results haven't reached that expectation, and it doesn't mean that it's the end of the world. It just means that they can start looking at other options. So really, really supporting them in that. So today we've looked at the exciting summer months ahead. So your young person, they're just finishing their exams now. They've got the results, whether it's mocks, whether it's the real thing. I mean, if it's a real thing, they wouldn't have their results until August, right? But like we've got those 6 weeks while we're waiting. And what is it that we do? What kind of things can we really equip them with so they go into their summer holidays like really prepared and to get the most out of their summer holidays. So we've talked about mood mapping as a family, having daily check-ins like 4 times a day, having social media boundaries as well, because it's really important for our young people, like they're teenagers and they're young people, and it's important for them to learn how to socialize and being out there. So allowing them to go out with their friends, allowing them to go out. I mean, going out with you is good, going out with friends, because let's face it, you have taught them well, and you've equipped them with all of the skills and the qualities and the behaviors they need to be able to take that out now into real life and start practicing and molding themselves, you know and I just want to read this article actually, because like there's an article that's showing that and I just want to get the right statistics, um because say here that a common parenting practice is hindering teen development. What's happening is, I want to get these statistics. So there was a survey done between children, parents of children between 13 and 18 years old, and what they found was that um, when parents are going on holidays with their children, they're not often letting them go out. They're not letting them go off and do things for themselves. They're keeping them together. And this is as well, it says here, a research shows that parents report increasing discomfort with letting their kids engage in risky unsupervised play. So what is risky? Like risky is letting them go out on their own, like you're on holiday and are you letting them go out on their own? And it actually said that 1/3 of parents would not let the young person in their life go out on their own, go to a coffee bar or something like this. 1 in 5 would not let them go out with other young people. And in actual fact, because our young people aren't going out, they're not having the opportunity to negotiate their skills and improve their skills of emotional intelligence with other young people. This is impacting their mental health and well-being, and this is part of the reason why we're seeing dramatic increases in anxiety and depression, and even like more like suicide in our young people. So they holiday time is an opportunity for our young people to really mature and grow and start walking out on their own, stepping out on their own, with the skills that you have or that we have taught them. So in this way, days out with their peers, going out to the beach, going out to the cinema, doing all of these things and being there as well. I mean, like, if you feel apprehensive about them going out, you can negotiating, for example, when they get to where they get to, that they send you a text and things like this, because I don't know whether what your plans for your young person are, whether they want to go to university, whether they want to go away to college, but sooner or later they are going to need to stand on their own 2 feet when they've got their work and they've got they've got their career. And so letting them and giving them the opportunity to do these little things really helps them develop their maturity, helps them develop their emotional intelligence, just really helps them develop as a person. And with emotional intelligence and resilience, those kind of like skills and qualities grow, less likely to have anxiety, stress, and depression. So today we've talked about what now, because like exams are finished, and like 1 minute we're stressed out because we don't know how to support our young person or the best thing to do in their exams, and now it's all kind of like it's that freedom of the summer which is really important. I remember when I did my, it was O levels in my day, and I went off afterwards, and I had one of the best summers. I found myself a little job, and by the way, a lot of parents aren't letting their young people. I mean, these little part-time jobs really do equip young people with the skills, being responsible. I remember going off and getting my little part-time job, and hanging out with my peers. And it's something that we really take for granted, and it's something that actually the young people in the pandemic time didn't have that opportunity. They didn't have their exams that they took the same as everybody else, and neither did they have that summer of joy, that summer of kind of like where they're really negotiating their own independence and their own, and developing their own skills in society. So please share this video. If there's any questions that you have, please do write them below. And please do continue making suggestions of what you'd like to see more of in the next video. So thank you for watching this video, and we'll see you next week in the next video.